Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ben Wilkoff Debriefs the Transition. Today I want to debrief a conversation that Nick and I had over at VPP. Yesterday we had the amazing opportunity to take 2 hours with the principal, the APs, and a couple of other folks that are deeply invested in the technology at the school, and really walk through the From One to One template that we had all talked about a couple months ago and you had provided some amazing feedback on. We took the latest iteration and had the conversation, but we started off with Nick sort of facilitating the same activity that we all went through, where we put the learner in the center and we chose a specific learner and we talked about all of the icons around that learner. And what was most interesting about that conversation is that not everybody picked the student. There were a couple of people that picked themselves. There was Garrett picked his wife. We also had someone who did pick a student. And there were other folks who picked other teachers that they support. And what I found most compelling was throughout this conversation, 2 very strong learners emerged. The student learner, and really thinking about what the different needs of a 9th grader versus a 12th grader versus different class, different disciplines and different content areas. And then also the adult learner in the building. And both of those could be at the center. And we really could define what it means to be a connected learner by placing them at the center, the student and the adult learner. And it's really amazing to me that both of those came up because Stella, in our purpose statement, had made the comment of, all right, so who is the learner in learner agency? And it's intentionally learner because it could be the adult and it could be the student learner. But it means that we have to think sort of doubly about our jobs and think about it in parallel. What are the supports that we are defining for the adults? What are the supports that we are defining for the students? And how do we make sure that whatever we are supporting for the adult learners always makes it to the students, that it is having that impact? And so I was faced very much with this conversation about how the adult learning, so we're talking about this teacher ownership model of having a card in your room, right? Where you are committed to PD, you are committed to using those devices in your classroom, right? You are really taking it upon yourself to own the process of transforming the classroom. That should have direct impact on students, but what about the students that don't go to those teachers? How do we support from the very early stages of that student's career within the school so that they understand what it means to take ownership of their learning, of the skills that they need in order to use these devices as learning devices? And so we sort of talked about a two-pronged approach where we would support teachers as they took more ownership of their professional learning and understanding how these tools could transform. And then also looking at 9th graders and possibly other students who could start to earn autonomy, who could start to earn the ability to own the device, and thinking about what the plan might be for that, where they could individually transfer it between classrooms, or they could take home. Or at the very least, they would have the citizenship skills to be able to log into Google Classroom on their phone in off periods and be able to use any device in order to be able to access the resources that they needed. So I guess the big question is this: how is it that we are supporting the adult learner in parallel with the student learner? And how is it that we might do that even more so, even better, and have that conversation where the teacher or where the schools are considering both as a component of learner agency? Because I know that we can't have student learner agency without the adults in the building having agency over their learning. We can't have adult learner agency without the students becoming, without them pressuring the adults in the building to say, I want some of that. I want to have some of that ownership. And, the teachers seeing that ability and that possibility, that opportunity for more agency. So lots more work to do with schools and sort of defining this, but it was a really great sort of moment with a set of school leaders where they were thinking it through and helping us to think it through as well. I'll share out the notes from the VPP conversation. Some really good stuff came about, but I hope you have a great day of teaching, learning, leading, and creating. Talk to you soon.